Hello and welcome to another episode of Alex and an Athlete. Today, we have a former MMA champion, professional fighter, Ben Davis. Ben Davis, how are you doing, my friend?
I'm good, man. Thanks for having me.
Shoot, thanks for coming on. Nothing more than I love to talk about than fist fighting people. So
Yeah.
how's everything been going for you?
Oh, probably like everybody else right now in this country. It feels like the movie's on the pause button. Yeah. Too much. Can't go too many places. Can't do too many things. But, it's a good thing in some areas because you kind of look at your life a little different and some things that you didn't value that weren't too important. You get to have a lot of those moments, like helping your kids with your homework. You find out, how much you really don't know about homework.
The things that they got these kids doing now are it's stuff that we did in high school. It's like, what are you
doing?
Ooh.
Shit, genius.
Mm-hmm. That's good for them, but not for us.
It is. I don't know the answer to half of it.
Oh, that's good. Yeah, I mean, this whole thing is just giving a lot of people more perspective on, what's more important, the rat race or, actually enjoying the things that you're able to build, like family, community, camaraderie. If you're just working and doing everything else all the time, you miss out on those life experiences that you'll regret later on.
And then you really get to see, a true test of people's character when they worry about themselves when they are out in the community doing a food drive or helping. There's so many people that need help now because of this, and you see people's true colors, and I'm very, very much impressed with our everyday person that are getting involved and helping feed people and helping clean things. And it's push comes to shove, man. We did pretty good, I think, for the human race.
Yeah, and there's always room for improvement, but if we want to look on a bright scale, there's just certain times where it doesn't even seem like we're in a worldwide pandemic. It just seems like a normal day.
Exactly. Yeah.
And it's not even hard things that they're asking of us either. It's like wear your mask when you go out, just social distance a little bit. Yeah, wash your hands, wash your ass, Should be doing that anyways.
You be doing anyways.
It's just normal common sense.
To put a fight pretty hard.
Oh yeah.
Those guys are...
So tell me a little bit about your martial arts career. How did you get started in martial arts?
Oh, okay. So this was back in Fairfield, California. I was a football player, was a wrestler, and then all of a sudden, there's a couple different martial arts places in town. And then all of a sudden, bam, this grand opening of American School of Kickboxing opened. And nobody knew who this guy was. He was just, he was a cigarette driver. He delivered cigarettes to all the big companies. And you ready for his? Do you know who that was? That was the one and only Jacob Duran, Stitch. Stitch, very first kickboxing instructor. And so he delivered cigarettes, and then he made his money on the side as a cut man, and a very good cut man. So when Jacob took a promotion as the lead vendor going to Vegas. And so he left the school to us, actually to Randy Buzzard, and he left. It took Jacob probably a year to 2 years at the most, and then he became like world famous. He became, the world renowned Stitch that everybody knew. We called him Stitch anyways, but everybody else in the world called him Stitch, and got the UFC contract, and he was working corners with De La Hoya, Tyson. He was just it. He blew up. So that was the very first guy who taught me how to wrap my hands.
Very nice. Yeah, I had
Yeah.
an old athletic director, used to do amateur boxing, baseball, uh, everything, and he's the one that ended up teaching me how to wrap my hands back in high school. So everyone needs someone to teach them to start. The hardest thing about anything, start. So since you started there, how was your experience there, and
So I
what ended up making you leave?
started with Jacob. I think I had about 5 or 6 fights under him, and then he left. I had a few more fights with Randy. Became a champion in kickboxing, and kickboxing kind of dried out. You couldn't really get a payday. MMA was really big on the scene, and back then there was no amateurs, no really pros. It was just no holds barred. They called it NHB, and you could wear wrestling shoes. Just couldn't gouge to the eyes, couldn't hit a crotch shot, you couldn't bite. Those are the
Big
only
hook.
pretty 3 big rules that you had to go by. And it wasn't a lot of jujitsu. It was basically guys who could box and guys who could wrestle. They're either going to pick you up, slam you on your head, and just beat your head into the canvas, or they're going to knock you out standing. And that developed into mixed martial arts, became sanctioned, had sanctioning body rules. Then the guys were getting tested because I'll tell you what, dude, the first few fights, the first few years, everybody was roided out to the max. There was no,
Mm-hmm.
um, you know, you were seeing just some straight, Marvel comic type of dudes walking damn cage with no neck and just, yeah, you were ready to piss on yourself knowing that was your opponent.
Those Coleman's and
Yeah, I
all
remember
those just roided up dudes. Yeah, that's some scary stuff.
we we were down in Ventura, and it was at this beautiful golf course, and it was for members only. So it was an all male fight, and it was MMA and boxing. So they added the 5th rope in the ring for the MMA. So you had boxing and you had MMA, and then so it was an all male event, all members only. So it was cognac and cigars. I mean, it was just like for the rich duds, right? Everybody was
Mm-hmm.
betting. So at the weigh-in, it's on the golf course, beautiful. They got like brand new Ferraris lined up. I mean, it was, wow, it was nice.
Country
And
club.
yeah, so I'm there, I'm ready to weigh, and then they said, okay, here comes your opponent. He's actually walking in right now, and they pointed to the gate at the golf center where it opens, and they're small, right? They're ways away, and there's 3 people, and this son of a bitch in the middle, man, was just enormous, and I could see him from a mile away. I was like, God, that is one big son of a bitch. And they're like, yeah, that's your opponent. I was like, what? Son of a bitch.
uh, said this one might hurt.
Yeah, I could not believe the ass whipping I took that night, man. Oh my God. This guy was just unreal.
No, I'm at. and that's exactly why they did things like starting to test people,
Yeah.
not only for that, but also for blood. It's because they also started realizing that crossing your bloods can lead to some blood diseases as well. So a lot of safety came later, but not during your start, huh?
No, it was pretty bad. Back in when I started, you, there was no rules on you had to have anything but gloves on your hands. So guys were just putting gloves on, no wraps, and then literally, man, I see their gloves being taken off of them backstage, and I can't tell you how many times guys' hands they look like paws after the fight, and usually like the middle knuckle, the skin was gone, and you could see the bone because there was just a lot of it was on Indian reservations, so those guys grew up like fighting like that, like they just didn't care. There's just a hand injury, it'll heal. But
Mm-hmm.
man, those guys got after it, man. Whew, we no pain, no nothing. They just went for it.
Oh yeah, I mean it's a lifestyle. It's when you come from like a warrior tribe mentality. It's
Yeah,
bred into you. It's probably the same thing that we had. There's a reason why we kept going into the cage repeatedly, like we're some kind of gladiator. Yeah, and it may
well,
just be bred down. So that's
yeah, definitely
awesome.
money for me, man. They didn't never paid me enough.
No, but I don't think we really did it for the money. So like I was telling Justin, I had Justin on McLean,
Hmm.
and he I told him too. It's like, hey, we didn't do it for the money. We did it for the personal satisfaction and the glory. It's which is thinking back about it, probably should have took money.
Well, at the end of my career, I made a lot of money, and I'm still getting calls to come back. And I was really tempted about 6 months ago, maybe a little bit longer. Called me for a bare knuckle fight,
Mhm.
uh, and
back to day one, huh? Those Indian reservation fights.
and I I turned it down. They did a couple, but now COVID has spiked so high that they had to shut that down. That was like the only thing up and running. And, if you wanted to get a fight, you'd have to go out of California. And now across the country, it has spiked so much that, you're just going to have to wait until it comes down.
Yeah, and that's the hardest part is, dude,
Yeah.
after 9 months, it's hard to keep being patient.
Yeah. I was
I,
lucky. I mean, my contract with Gladiator Challenge, they would uh, shoot me to Sacramento for Thunder Valley, and then after Thunder Valley, they'd shoot me to Palm Springs for Agua Caliente. So I would just bounce back and forth, man, from Northern California to Southern California. I didn't have to really go anywhere, like as of another state, or like PD and I did when we went to Missouri for that fight. But you know, and it's not too bad, traveling from one part of California to the next, and it's kind of nice. But some of these guys, man, that just have these long, freaking, drawn out travel arrangements to fight. It's like, God, dude, I'm so glad that those days are behind me. Those are hard to get up for a fight, man, when you're traveling for a day or two.
oh
God.
yeah, I remember whenever what was it my last flight when we went to Utah.
Hmm.
Uh, we drove there one day, got there. One day is not enough to get used to the third highest elevation. I'll tell you that right now. And
No.
I even trained with my elevation training mask, and I was still my fight only lasted a minute 13 seconds. I was able to get an arm triangle in the first round, but the I was gassed instantly, and it's because you know you're going to thinner air, and
Hmm.
your body's not used to it. So I was over here thinking like when these guys go from sea level like we did, like say they're over there on North Carolina, and they come
Yeah.
all the way over. You got 2 days of travel, just about. You got to rest. You got to weigh in. You're cutting weight at the same time, and whew, it's just tough.
Yeah.
That's one part I hated the most was the travel.
Yeah. I hated that, man.
Yeah. And then like when we went up to Humboldt when we fought on that card together.
That was a freaking drive and a half. Man.
Yeah, 7.5 hour drive in the back of Petey's 2-seater truck.
That was
And I was still like a pound overweight, so all I could have was like an ice cube every 2 hours.
yeah.
I think that's the one thing I'll never miss is cutting weight.
No, it's horrible, man.
It's horrible for your body. I think I finally weigh 150, and haven't cut weight in 7 years, and I finally jumped up from 125.
That's good, man. That's good.
It took a long time, and it took a lot of sitting around, but I was able to get some on me.
Well, that's good, man. That's good. You finally back to civilization and healthy now. You don't look like you're starving anymore.
Yeah, and that was the thing too. Was I was starving.
Yeah, man. It makes
Oh
you
wait.
mood. Makes you just. Then you got to train like that. It sucks.
Hmm. And so after you won your belt there, kickboxing, uh, where did you end up going after that? What path
I,
what path
I
did you take?
went to LA where I became the IKF cruiserweight, and then the heavyweight world champion with Steve Rodarty. Then I left Steve. Steve shut down for a little bit, and I believe he was working with Golden Boy for a little while, and then I left Steve, and then started training with Bob Cheney, and then Bob got me on Dennis Warner's card, and then I started fighting in Vegas pretty regularly, and then after that, I moved to the Valley where you're at. I moved to Merced. Uh, Joined up with the Stackhouse. Then after that, let's see. Then I was with Carter Williams in Modesto at Bad to the Bones. Had a bunch of fights in the Valley, and then came to Monterey and finished out strong here, man. I think 14 fights straight. I went out here.
Nice.
Mm.
Nothing like a win streak, especially when it's
Yeah,
double digits.
I haven't lost in years.
That's awesome. Yeah, I mean, especially with the experience that you had. I mean, most people don't have that kind of experience. They, 2, 3 years, 4 years, but
Mm.
shoot, you've been doing it for over a decade, and not a lot of people can say that.
No, I had my first fight at 17, and had my last fight at 42.
There you go. 23 years.
Yeah, long time.
25. Yeah, 25 years. That's a
Long time
quarter century.
yeah, getting punched in the face.
Yep. Never got old, huh?
Yeah. Oh, it gets old.
That's why you're like Mayweather. Once you have that many fights, you start learning how to not get hit so much.
Telling you, last few fights, it was just I came at them with everything I had. Just like, I'm trying to get you out early.
Yeah. So would you consider your style more of just kickboxing, or how would you describe your style?
Um, I'm definitely, I say the guys like me are freestyle fighters. Um, you know, stand and bang. Now, when people say kickboxing to me, that means you're going to hold the center of the octagon, move, good footwork. Um, I was,
Precision strike.
yeah, inside outside leg kick. You know, you're going to be technical enough, and you're gonna set that knockout up. Where I've had those fights, um, but for me, I always enjoyed closing the gap. Not worried about getting a head cut. Put my head on his head. Over unders, a lot of elbows, up, side, down, doesn't matter. And just short, dirty boxing, step away, big power shot, whether it's a knee, elbow, even a good kick. I was that fighter who loved to close the distance, and there was a lot of power coming when I did that. The best thing that I've learned in all the years that I've been fighting actively is once you put your opponent on his heels, he no longer can do pretty much 90% of the things he trained to do. He's really, it's pretty much coming back to balance and starting over for him. So when you have him on his heels, like you do when you close the gap and you're going to push him against the cage, you have a chance to really let loose some just nasty ass power shots. And for me and the guys that I've trained, Justin, Mike, Alex, all those guys who have become champions, they really mimic that style. They'll just bully you, grab you, and if you fall, when we have our over under and we hit a trip, shit, we're happy if we're on top. um but yeah, I definitely say I'm a freestylist, but I don't think I wouldn't classify me as a technical fighter, not at all.
Okay,
Just
gotcha. A
love
brute.
to sit and bang. I mean, I made up with brawling that has overcome a lot of bad technique. It really
Mhm.
has. you know um there's not a lot of heavyweights that have good, clean, beautiful techniques like guys at 175, 185. It's a different type. Heavyweight is a different type of game, and guys
Mhm.
don't understand that until they become heavy, and then it's like, oh shit, yeah, I can't do that cartwheel kick anymore. I'm like, yeah.
It's hard to move around 250 pounds, you know?
The thing that people don't understand is you're 250 pounds. Okay. So you're carrying that 250. Now, when your opponent latches on and he's 250, now you're moving 500 pounds. It wears you out. Your legs feel like you just climbed Mount Everest. And it's,
Mhm.
man, if it literally feels like you got hit by a freaking truck.
Yeah, I mean that's the one thing I was glad about being a lightweight was
Yeah.
seeing some of these heavyweights, the shots that they take, the power they generate. I'm like, I'm glad I don't have to eat those.
And then you look at these lightweight fighters, bam, they hit the ground, they get punched a couple of times, they move into a different position, get punched, then they move into a different position and they fucking shoot up like a rocket. And I'm like, there's no way in hell my fat ass could ever get up fast. I mean, I would, the referee would have to help me up to get up that fast.
Maybe two, huh?
And maybe two, and my corner.
Yeah, I mean I think that's the biggest difference whenever you come down to lightweights and heavyweights. Is lightweights are forced to use the technique. They're forced to use speed and explosiveness as compared to where heavyweight, you could be a little more patient, knowing that you can end that fight in almost one shot, or like you said, just put all that weight on him, make him carry half a ton, and just
Well,
burn his legs out.
you guys, because you guys are forced to be in shape because you have to cut weight. So when you're cutting weight, that means you're running more, you're biking, you're doing more things cardiovascular wise, where the heavyweight, he doesn't necessarily have to do his road work because there's no scale unless he's 300 pounds, and then he's got to do it, but so he could sit in the gym and just bang all day, work power shots all day. Now, that doesn't mean after a minute or 2 minutes of the fight he's going to have any air, but that could be his whole game plan. Is as soon as a guy steps in my crosshairs, it's lights out. And a lot of heavyweights train like that. Like, I don't need 3 rounds, I just need a minute. Okay. Good luck with that.
Okay. Yep. Someone with some head movement might tell you
You have
different. But
a lot of bodybuilders that cross into cage fighting, and they think, well, I can bench 400 or 500 pounds, I could punch a guy's head clean off his shoulders. Yeah, maybe. I mean, that practice dummy doesn't hit back and he doesn't move.
yep.
Might be.
Knock
But
the stuffing out the scarecrow.
right, no jab, and he's moving, and you're swinging and missing, and a whole different topic, man.
Yeah, I mean, I'm pretty sure it. It takes a lot of energy to miss a punch.
Yeah, and it messes with you psychologically too. So you start pulling your punches because you don't want to get out of position and like, oh shit, I just missed. Now half of my body's exposed to this guy, and he's gonna kick me in the ribs or kick me in the leg.
Oh yeah,
And
and especially with those tree trunks, right?
Yeah.
Like
Danger
so,
man, heavyweights, dude, his leg kicks. Ooh.
oh yeah. So who would you say is probably your crowning achievement or your favorite fight coming up? Do you have one?
That I fought?
Yeah, kind of like
Uh,
your crowning achievement, I guess you would say.
hmm. Well, I definitely say when I fought Warpath, even though I lost the fight, um, it was a big name. It was a good fight. He was pretty bloody. I'd say that was definitely a good fight.
Oh,
A lot of people.
yeah. A lot of people think you have to win the fight for it to be a great fight. But
Now, now, just the fact that I was fighting Warpath, and his last fight was against Boss Rudin on TV, and Boss kicked the shit out of him. But I went in and I fought Warpath, and I could not believe the chin that this guy had. I mean, Boss took him out with the legs, and looking back, I don't know why the hell I didn't throw any leg kicks. I wanted to headhunt him, and he just had a chin, man.
oh yeah, that I mean, Boss Rutan, that guy is known for putting people away. So
Yeah,
any way he can do it, open palm or whatever.
yeah, exactly.
But
Yeah,
yeah, so definitely strategy is a big thing, and like you said, as soon as you get into a fight, it's easy to forget the game plan. You just go off instinct.
yeah, yeah.
And that's why whenever these guys follow a game plan for a whole 15 to 25 minutes, that's impressive in its own respect due to that mental strength.
Yeah.
It's not easy to lose the first round and then keep that game plan and then win the next 2 or 4.
No, I mean, most people, Like, there's been some legends, man, that I fought. And I think we were so involved in the moment. Like when I fought Tank and when I fought Pat Smith, um, like, wow, you're fighting UFC legends right now. You're fighting guys who, came before us and built this. And, you're in the main event against them, we're at Thunder Valley.
Mhm.
So
That's
it's,
pretty neat.
it is, but it's like, like Rashad Evans said it, when he was in there with Chuck Liddell, like, wow, I'm in here, I'm getting lost in the moment and I'm in the fight. And I got to wake up because he's going to knock me out. And then he was lucky to pull himself out of that fog and start taking it to Chuck because, he was a little bit gun shy. He's like, shit, I'm in here with the legend,
Yeah. People forget how mental this game is.
big
It,
time.
your mind will break before your body most of the times. It's
I've seen it, man, where guys literally lose the fight backstage
mhm.
that had great camps. And I'm talking some of my fighters. I'm talking myself too. In whatever, I was fighting a guy at Thunder Valley one time, and quite frankly, he should not have been in there with me. The guy only had like 4 or 5 fights. I think he had like 1 win. It was the last replacement. I mean, believe it or not, I was just supposed to go in there, kick the shit out of the guy. I was the champ. Whatever. We're gonna go home and we'll research for the next fight, But because my brother was fighting Little Bear that night on the card, my whole focus was him. It wasn't even me. And then by the time the main event got there for me, I was just so drained. I was just, I don't know. I mean, I beat the guy, but I should have beat him a lot faster. I mean, we're talking like I should have beat him in like 10, 15 seconds, and it took me like 1:40. And, you know, it just, everything I was doing was for him, making sure he was okay. And, this was a big fight for him, a big opportunity for him. And I just kind of forgot about myself.
Yeah, it's easy to because you get drawn into the whole event instead of just
Yeah.
focusing on yourself. When you're a fighter, your only job is supposed to worry about the fight. And so whenever you get stretched thin like that, it's hard to be the promoter, the coach, and the fighter all at the same time.
When we
And
went to
then when
Blue
you're the
Lake,
last fight,
when we went to Blue Lake,
hmm
I was so concerned about yours and Primo's guy, you and Primo's fighter, that making sure you guys were okay. Like Tom and Steve just pulled me as far as they could in the back, and they're like, "Look, man, quit going out there and looking. Like, just stay back here, relax. You have a long night."
hmm
Yeah, good, dude. I was like, man, the pacing that just you do, your legs are freaking tired.
yeah, it's hard. It's hard to win because you're ready for your fight, and then you're like, okay, now I gotta wait. Ready for the fight, now I gotta wait, and
Yeah.
it's tough. It's just those adrenaline dumps. If they come at the wrong time, they can cost you.
Yeah, I remember. So there's only one doctor at cage side, and this has happened to me twice. So Aaron Brink is fighting Little Bear, and they are. I'm the main event, or excuse me, I'm the co-main. They're the fight before me, and they bring him in the hallway. I'm getting ready to come out, and then all of a sudden they stop the show because they're stapling Little Bear's head up right in front of me, and I'm like,
Oh, oh,
yeah,
that's
I've had that.
like the event we had the other day where that guy got his cauliflower ear popped and just
Yeah,
split his ear. You see that before your fight, and you're like, okay, well, Hopefully my cauliflower ear don't do that.
God. Yeah, that kind of takes the life right out of you.
I mean, it just puts it in perspective. It's why you train so hard, it's so that you can prevent things like that. Um, but you can't always prevent them. That's,
And
that's being cut up is probably the worst part about all that.
yeah, it's a lot of injuries, man. I've seen a lot. Had a lot. Oh, crazy.
And what was the worst injury that you went through?
I've had a double hernia surgery.
Mm.
Uh, broke bones in my hands, my feet.
I want to say at Humboldt, you messed your foot up pretty good, kicking that dude in the head.
Yeah. Those are the ones that heal, just take a little bit of time. But the one that, so this is when I was in LA, and Mark Coleman was at Champions Gym in Rancho Cucamonga, and I was part of the Shark Tank, and they asked me to come up and to get Mark ready. And it was me and two other guys that were going to be his sparring partners. And I don't know why, but he just had I don't know if he didn't like me or if he saw me as the best competition, and he tuned it up more when I was in there. But it's like our third or fourth sparring session, and you could just feel it as soon as I walked in the gym. His body language, everything just changed, and maybe he got in a big fight with his wife or girlfriend. I don't know, but from the second we went inside the ring, and this was when Mark was getting ready to fight in the K1. It was just, I mean, it was like kill or be killed. And anyway, so 4 rounds, and we were both bloody. But that night when I went home, I just started bleeding from my nose really bad. And my wife took me to the ER. I had multiple fractures in my face, and I had a brain. And that's from with him. I mean, but we were trying to kill each other, man. I mean, there was I've never hit anybody that hard with sparring. I mean, I can honestly tell you, I was trying to put him on a stretcher that day. And as shitty as that sounds, because I know he had a fight, because I know that's what he was trying to do to me. And
Exactly. You can only go as hard as the other
yeah,
person. If you don't, then you're just going to be the one hurt.
and I stopped going. The owner of that gym, Eddie Millis, he and I had a big falling out that after that, because I looked over at him twice, like, hey, say something, tone
Yeah,
this
this
down.
is sparring.
And then he just looked at me and like what he wants,
You
give it.
tell them.
Like, great, I'm trapped in here.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah. So that was pretty much the end of my Shark Tank guys.
Yeah, it sounds like it. Good reason. I mean,
Yeah.
let's talk about those steroided up dudes. Mark Coleman's one of them. You've seen what he did to people in Pride. He
Yeah.
kneeing them in the head from a front headlock while they're laying on the ground. I thought he murdered that guy.
Yeah.
So yeah, I could only imagine what it's like just to spar with them. And yeah, whenever the people who are supposed to keep it, I wouldn't say safe, but I would say restrained,
Yeah.
weren't doing it because they were scared. Like they see what he's doing, what you guys are doing to each other. Who in their right mind is going to try to step in the middle of that?
Yeah, but it's like, dude, you're eating up your sparring. We've got to come back and work with you. And if you're trying to put me in the hospital, what are you doing?
Yeah.
Like, I mean, good luck. I mean, you'll have to go find new sparring partners now, and maybe you'll find somebody better than me. Maybe you won't. But that's a risk you take when you spar like you're an asshole,
Oh,
Uh,
the American Shuttlebot.
I've always worked with my sparring partners. You're there to help me. So if I know I can knock you out, I'm going to snap that kick. I'm going to pull that punch. I'm going to hit you in the arms if I'm on top of you, mounting you. I'm not going to, do nothing stupid because I need you. I need your help,
Mm-hmm. Exactly. It's one of those things. It's the hardest thing to find is a good training partner, and that comes with the
But
territory.
it's and Eddie was not the guy that you want to pretty much mimic your career around either. So it if you control your gym and you control your fighters, you control the atmosphere, everything should stay controlled. And then when it gets out of hand, you stop it right away. You don't let bad habits build in the gym. And then, that really counts for a lot of safety.
Yep, and it's a top-down effect too. So if the head guy's not saying
Yeah.
nothing, the fighters aren't going to say nothing. They think that it's normal and that's how it's supposed to go. Until people like you come out from a different gym and show them that hey, that's not the way that everybody does it.
No, I mean, you don't need to freaking practice your rear naked on somebody until he passes out. I mean,
Hmm.
you know?
Exactly. Don't just keep twerking that arm. It's you already have it locked in. All you got to do is be patient. Instead, you just keep cranking, and now your training partner got a broken arm.
How was your time with Tom? I haven't talked to him, and I heard that he split. And how was training with him?
Pretty much that's the last I heard from him too. Um, let's see. It was yeah, that was the Blue Lake fight.
Yeah,
We went. I still don't know how I lost that split decision. I still don't know. Motherfucker. Drop the
fighting.
guy twice the first round and then get him in a deep triangle at the end of the first and then still lose a split decision. That should have been a 10-8 round, but
What? Uh,
I digress.
yeah,
And so it was okay. The partners were great. We were able to have good consistent training partners.
yeah.
But I would say that the instruction was definitely lacking. Um,
No, it was horrible.
yeah, I mean, whenever I never did jujitsu in my life, I go in there and I'm one of the best grapplers already, except for the, purple brown belts like Hiram.
Hmm.
It, and it's like I just train against those guys, and they're the ones that taught me jujitsu more than anybody else. Um,
Oh, 100%. Like, yeah, I
there
just
was
could not.
no kickboxing coaches except for you and Petey were the ones who taught me how to kick.
Yeah,
And that was it. That was the only training I ever got.
could not
But
train with. Yeah, he asked me so many times to come in the gym, be a part of the gym, and I'm just like, man, dude.
little bit of a con artist, I would have to say.
Oh yeah, so he screwed over Dan big time.
Hmm. Yeah, a
So
few people.
yeah, Dan. See Dan for my chiropractic, and guess he screwed him over pretty good.
Oh, Dan Kirby, yeah.
Yeah,
Yep. Dan Kirby, he's the one who told me that I had 3 tears in my knee.
Jesus.
Yeah, that was all from teaching Justin Rios how to do a Hirogoshi. And we were sparring, and he wasn't. He tried to force it and muscle it, and so my foot got twisted and caught in the mat, and he still just tried to yank me over it. And so I went down, but my leg stayed straight, which is not good. So,
Yeah.
I was training because I was going to be King of the Cage in Chicago.
Mm.
I was training for that fight, but then Dan told me I couldn't do it no more. So, whatever, Dan. No. He was looking out for me, which was probably one of the only people back then who really had my longevity at heart.
You know, Justin became a champion, right?
McLean, right?
Rios.
Rios. No, I didn't
Yeah.
know he ended up becoming a champion.
Oh yeah.
Last I seen him, he moved to Napa Valley.
No, he's never been to Napa.
Mm. Then
I've,
that was
I've
just his parents up there.
yeah, his parents were up there. I had him. He was a part of my team. I trained him. Uh, trained him for almost 4 years, 4 years, and yeah, he did good. Him and Mike Hart both became champions. Alex Valdez, Johnny. I put out like 6 champions out here, and those guys, woo, they were something.
Hmm. That's the one thing that I wish I would have been able to do was have kind of more of an actual fight coach slash manager slash outside of just Petey, because Petey, he was already stretched thin enough as it is. He liked it, but he couldn't dedicate his time to it, and his knowledge was only so vast. Um,
Yeah,
and the hardest
they
thing to do is find new people to learn from.
they they everybody pretty much pulled together when it was somebody's time to fight. You know, we all um, had to kind of do certain things. And oh, Tim, you know, trained Timmy for I think 4 fights too. Oh boy, God, I can't believe how many people I've trained lately.
Yeah, sounds like it. Been busy.
Yeah.
So where are you training out of? What's your gym?
So I was bouncing guys back and forth from. We have a warehouse in Watsonville that's set up for a lot of conditioning that we use, and it's all gutted out. We did it, so we have our weights, we have our bags in there. Then in Watsonville, we'll go to Rick Noble and Karina's. We'll train a really good stand up in there, a lot of good sparring in there, and then we'll go over to Kuntar at least one day a week to get a lot of wrestling and jiu-jitsu. But then
Kutar had a lot of good jujitsu guys.
they do, but they don't want to go like MMA type of style, like rules where, you know, I like my guys to kind of roll a few times without the gis,
Yeah,
and kind of feel what it's like when someone is, behind you and he's punching you in the ribs a little bit and he's working the head, and how high can your turtle guard go before you're in jeopardy, and just all those things that, I mean, and the guy doesn't have to punch you hard. It's just, bye buddy.
yeah,
Um,
just to get your attention.
just feel what the position's going to feel like when someone is behind you, and he's got your arm, or he's got you wrapped around your belly, or he's trying to work a half Nelson and he's hitting you with the other hand. And what are your options? Do you sit out hard? Do you Granby? What do you do? So those were things that they really didn't like to do a lot over there. There was only like 3 or 4 guys, so we were kind of limited. But when it was full jiu-jitsu, they had a good base of guys to work with. And then lately we've been going over to Claudio Franco's in Watsonville and getting a lot of good work over there, man. A lot of good work.
Awesome. I forget
Yeah.
his last name. Ray in Watsonville, boxing gym.
Ray?
Mendota? Is it Ray or
Josh?
Josh? There you go. I was thinking of an old wrestler I used to wrestle from Watsonville.
Mm-hmm.
a lot of people from Watsonville that I know come to find out. Never knew it.
That's a breeding ground.
Oh yeah, so that's good. So pretty much just like to go and travel, and that's good because that's where you get the most
Yeah.
diversity in your training. But like you said, there's a big difference between gi and no gi.
Yeah.
People try to get in a body life and not use a gi to get out of it like you do in practice every day. During a fight, you're going to be in trouble. You know,
Yeah.
you can't pull clothes, you can't do anything like that. So I knew that I wasn't going to be a jujitsu competitor. I knew that I was going to be a martial artist. You know, just step inside the cage, no gi. So I never trained with a gi.
Well,
It,
and then, again, when you're in shorts and your gloves, that body's going to feel a lot different in the third round than it does in the first. You got some blood going on, you're dripping wet with sweat. Things are different. I mean, I've literally, man, I've slid off of a dude's back. He was so sweaty in a fight when it was going to the end of the second round, and we were both drenched, man. Like you just poured buckets of water on us. So
mm-hmm.
it's different.
The weirdest thing to me about fighting always was in between rounds, whenever they put that ice pack on the back of your head and your neck, you can't even
Mm-hmm.
feel it. Your body's so hot, and you just every pore is just dripping, and you only been in there for 3 to 5 minutes, and then you
That,
got to go do it 2 more times.
yeah, that adrenaline. Oh,
Mm-hmm. The nice thing about adrenaline was it masked a lot of the pain until your body tried to recover. So during the fight, it didn't bother you, but after the fight, yeah, you felt it.
yeah, I've been sitting at the bar at the after party in the hotel and the casino, literally falling asleep because I was so tired because the adrenaline and everything's wearing off. It's like, wow.
Oh yeah, that's right after every fight, Jaeger bomb to start the night, and then
Yeah,
who knows where it went after that? Because I can't
that,
remember.
that's my NyQuil.
Yeah, tastes
my,
like
old,
it too.
my old ass is going to bed. I start shooting those.
Oh yeah, I mean, but after you get punched in the face a few times, it helps.
Definitely.
I want to say, hell, I woke up uh, after the Blue Lake fight, because that one was that was just a war. That one went all 3 rounds, split decision, uh, back and forth, knees, elbows. We used everything, and I I just woke up and I saw there was like a box of cereal, some plastic bowls and forks, a little thing of milk in the fridge, bunch of open beers. We had to piece the night together. We're like, what happened? And apparently, I went and bought all that, and then I went to bed.
Yeah, I
Oh,
hurt myself. I think my foot, I was really hurting the next morning, and there was just a little stairway you could walk because I think it was only like a 2-floor casino or 2-floor for the hotel, and we went down the stairs and my damn leg gave out and fell down the stairs.
oh, that was a fun event, except for we all got gypped by the promoter. So
That guy, yeah,
yeah, not the
he's
first time. Won't be the
not
last promoter to screw people.
there's a new guy promoting. He's good friends of Vince, the owner of Kuntar, and I've been in touch with him a few times, and he definitely wants to put something together. I mean, there's so many promoters that are gonna promote big as soon as this pandemic lifts. It's gonna be crazy. There's gonna be so many fights. You just
There
pick.
is the look at the UFC. They figured out a way, and they got fights every single weekend.
Yeah.
So there's going to be a way to do it. It's just, not everyone has those kind of resources to buy an island.
No, no, they don't. And not everybody has ESPN money back in their business either.
Exactly. So just us smaller guys, we got to roll with the punches at first. It's tough, but I mean, at the same time, as soon as everything opens up, like you said, it's just gonna blossom. People are waiting. They're getting anxious. They're gonna be excited when they first get back. But you're gonna really start to see which ones are passionate and which ones are just doing something, And I really like watching these passionate people develop.
It's gonna be some good fights, man. Gladiator Challenge is working hard right now. They pretty much have got 2021. If this thing lifts in January, February, there's going to be some good fights the remaining of the year.
Oh yeah, where do they usually hold their events at?
They have like 5 different casinos that they use. So they
Okay,
have
nice.
Sacramento. They have 2 casinos in Southern California. They have I don't know if they have Reading or not, and then they have Cache Creek. So they promote a lot. They promote at least every month in a lot of spots. So they, you know, shit, I think one year they promoted 11 fights. Yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
Yeah.
Isn't 559 fights also pretty good promoting?
Um. Well, that's an amateur card, so
Oh, amateurs card. Okay, yeah.
he he's limited on what he can do, and Camo is very the tight sanctioning body, so they won't let anything happen right now. But believe he's throwing like 3 fights a year, 4 fights a year, maybe. And that's Jeremy Lujan, and he'll be throwing his card as many as he can. I know McNeil is going to do some cards out here. Yeah,
Yeah,
a
that's
couple
gonna be neat.
are going to do some.
Yeah. So do you still have a group of fighters? Uh,
Oh yeah, oh yeah.
and are all of them pro or some also amateur?
No, it's a mixture.
Next year, awesome. Yeah, I mean you need that well balanced. You need the guys that are learning and the guys who can also push them and teach each other. So it's hard. The coach can't be the best person in the room every time. You need a good culture in there.
Yeah, you just
Um,
gotta wait for this damn thing to be over, man.
oh yeah. So yeah, you'll have to let me know whenever it does open up. Whenever the fighters are coming on, I'll have them on here and
Yeah,
get a little extra promotion for the event.
and then if you want, you can come with me um, to our gladiator shows, and if you wanted to do like interviews or have a camera guy or something, I usually bring a full camera crew when I fight, and it's some of the work that they do is pretty damn good.
Oh yeah, well, I'll definitely have to do that. Uh, that does sound fun. I haven't been to a fight event in years. I need to go feel
Yeah,
that
they're really
energy again.
they're elegant shows. I mean, they're nice. They're you know it's it's a 21 and over crowd. alcohol. And then it's like, the 2,000 people that go, they want you to go in those 5-star steakhouse restaurants. They want you to go in those, upbeat bars and nightclubs in the casino and gamble. So it's like, it's a whole night of fun that, they try to, capture for everybody. So everybody usually has a really good time.
It's hard to not have a good time in a casino. Doesn't matter what you're doing.
Yeah. Oh, that one
Yeah.
by where you're at, man, when I fought Chancey, I fought on the same card as Uriah Faber when he fought Crazy Horse. Oh,
Oh, that's right. At your chance, yeah.
yeah. I banged it out against Dennis Hall that night.
Dennis Hall, man, haven't heard that name in a while.
There's no dude down there. I think he's got a school.
Yeah, I think so. So, oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, so definitely whenever these events start rolling around, I'll be down in that area, so it'd be a lot easier too. I'll just meet up with you and
Yeah.
go. We'll figure everything else out. I'll go watch the fight, worst case.
No worries, man.
Yeah, awesome. Well, Ben, this has been awesome. It was great catching up. Before we end here, I want to I end every show with a little bit of a random fact, just in case you don't have fun, you can learn something.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So, random fact of the day is in the animal department. We have, did you know that a baby panda is smaller than a mouse when it's born?
Did not know that.
It's a little tiny thing, few inches, and then it grows into a giant man-killing panda.
That's good to know.
I figured you'd like that one because that reminds me of you a little bit. You were little at one point, and then you grew into this giant grizzly. So
I know.
Awesome.
I miss my little days.
I bet your body does too.
Yeah. And my grocery bill.
Yeah, I know mine's been getting bigger too. So, but awesome, Ben. I want to thank you for coming on, and like I said, we'll be in touch. We'll as soon as everything opens up, we'll start thinking of some fun things to do, and we'll be able to start doing some of these in person. It'll be real nice.
Cool, man. Thanks for having me, buddy.
Awesome. Hey, I appreciate it. Everybody want to give a special thanks to Ben Davis for coming in, former champion, and #1 in my heart. So.
Thanks, man. Take care, buddy.
Hey, will do. Be in touch.
Right, bye-bye.
Have a good one. All right. So that was MMA fighter Ben Davis, former champion, kickboxing, lots of seasoned vets. I hope everybody enjoyed this interview. It was a blast. So stay tuned for more Alex and an Athlete, and we'll have plenty of our other shows, MMA Coaches Corners, WWE, all of that good stuff. So make sure that you like, subscribe, send, share to your friends, family, coworkers, everybody else who you may think find this enjoyable. So with that being said, everyone have yourselves a great day, and we will catch you next time on Alex and an Athlete.